Hey everyone, welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast. I'm your host Dupe. With me today are the Heroes World crew, which are the owners and proprietors of Heroes World. That be John and Andre. Say hello.
Hello,
Howdy, folks.
And our resident prince of mischief, Mr. Rob Goudet.
Oh, hello. Why, hello.
As you can see,
hello.
John,
So deep and so sultry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
John
here.
was in the bowels of Coruscant, and now he's in medieval Japan.
In a world.
In a world.
In a world where three people like comics.
Yep. So,
One man.
welcome to our review of episode 1 of Star Wars Visions. We're going to go full spoilers. We're going to go talking about it. Only episode 1.
Oh, you
else.
bastard, because I watched episode 2. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Which part of it?
Only watched episode 2, or you watched 1 and 2?
No, I watched
That
1
would be-
and 2. I thought we were doing the
That
first
would
2.
be so funny if he was like, I just watched episode 2. What'd you do with episode 1? I skipped it because you guys said episode 2.
We watched
Good
episode
bit, Rob.
1.
Good bit.
We can talk about 2, but we'll talk about 1. And then these are a new offering of Star Wars.
Well, I like to think, I think Stu and Andre, you watched all of it probably.
I did.
I would like to hear overall thoughts on if, what you guys thought of it later.
Yeah,
after
we'll get
we
to
won.
it. But
I'd be
and
interested,
we
yeah.
didn't want to push Rob to watch all of it because I thought the first one was probably gonna be enough for him to be like, I think the first one's the perfect one for Rob. Other than that, everything else is all over the place. He might have actually knocked on my door and punched me in the face if I had to make him watch all the episodes. So
There's not enough partying in this Star Wars. thing.
there is. I think the second one is the Tatooine Rhapsody. That's the parting one, and Rob was probably already from his face nodding in either excitement or the vertical of like, this is the worst. So this
I was nodding. I was just nodding off.
Yeah. So this is called The Duel. Star Wars Visions, if you don't know already, they are all short episodes in between 11 to 20 minutes ish. These are one-off stories from different Japanese contributors that are inspired by anime in different types. This one particularly, I would say, has the nod to Kurosawa, and then each episode is a different anime style from a different production house. So that I don't think any of these are canon. These are just kind of like Batman Ninja.
What
where
is?
that was a weird offering as well when you saw Batman go back in time and fight ninjas. This is one of those things too where
What was that other Batman? There was another Batman animated project where they did essentially the same thing. I forgot what it was called, Batman Gotham Knight or something like that.
Gotham by
It was a
Gaslight.
No, it was a collection of anime shorts. I forgot what it's
Oh.
called.
yeah
Batman
I'll
shorts.
I'll try and look it up. But yeah, they did something very similar and went to all the big animation houses and
Yeah.
did a bunch of cool stuff.
yeah this is a unique kind of show in just terms of they released it all at once because I think it was a smart move to do. But John, we're gonna go straight into spoilers and straight into impressions. John, give us your thoughts of this episode, spoilers and all. What did you think of this first episode?
Yeah, so very cool. Me and Andre and probably you, I don't know about Rob, but old school anime fans, we grew up in the genre hit and we were just taken away by it. So maybe fell out of favor recently. So this is the perfect formula to get me some anime action. You got 10-minute episodes I can drop in. I actually flipped the audio to Japanese. I don't know if the episodes are originally in Japanese. I actually flipped them to Japanese and turned on the subtitles. So I watched the first 2 episodes in that format just for kicks. But I think it's very cool. So we saw Mandalorian, which is kind of like a focus on the cowboy western version of Star Wars. And I'm sure Andre might get into it, but I believe Star Wars is kind of a blending of that genre and this one, which is a samurai genre, right? So it's kind of cool that we're seeing this kind of go back to its roots. It's almost, I don't know what you would call it, like a reverse concept. I don't know what you would call it, paying tribute to the source material that inspired it or something like that. But it looked incredibly cool. So it basically looks like brought to life manga. So it is pretty much primarily in black and white, as far as I can tell, with splashes of color, which I believe were just lightsabers, maybe something else.
And the gems, the kyber crystals.
Yeah. So red looks like they splashed some red in. I don't remember if there was other colors splashed in or not because I was too busy looking at all the cool designs. So like this episode, you could freeze frame anything. Like I don't know if this is a freeze frame from no, this looks like a poster because it's got
Yeah,
everyone
they
combined,
wouldn't be
but you
standing
could
next to each other. Yeah.
yeah. But you could freeze frame any of these characters and throw it into an art book and go, samurai Star Wars concept art, and I'd be in. I'd buy it in a second. Like these look like first order stormtroopers. Definitely down with that samurai design. There was a guy that looked like I think it was Bosk. I think did he look like Bosk?
A Trandoshan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked kind of like those, and then they had another
He
guy
was the
that
leader. Yeah.
droid with the Gatling gun and stuff. And of course, your main character, who shout outs to Megan, who said in Andre's quick overview, she shouted out Runa Kenshin. So he definitely gave me that vibe, kind of a reluctant, although Runa Kenshin isn't really reluctant. He's actually more blatantly more reluctant hero type.
Yeah. That's
but
the trope of every Japanese Kurosawa
yeah. I'm like, yo,
movie.
you couldn't have helped out faster. Like when he's slowly kind of coming to save the day, I'm like, yo, speed it up, buddy. People are gonna die here. He's almost like James Bond. He just likes to let people die. Accomplishes.
Slow down. Stop that. Don't. No.
Okay. Sorry. Correction. He's like new James Bond, which is the Daniel Craig James Bond, who doesn't like to save people. He just kind of like lets them die. But anyways, we'll get to that on Monday.
Oh,
but
John.
all the designs incredible, very beautiful. The umbrella lightsaber thing was hilarious. Someone would have to explain to me how the physics work. Like I don't know how you just plug in a lightsaber and it just ends up shooting out the other ends. But yeah, just everything about the episode was really cool. Do I need to see more? Not really. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Would I watch more? Oh yeah, hell yeah, of course. Would I read a manga adaptation? Yes. Would I get that art book? Yes. If these are coming out as action figures, I'm in trouble because I need that guy.
You will. They will come out.
I need like
remember,
5 of these troopers.
I think.
I hope they're black and white with splashes of color, which would be friggin' awesome.
I think, John, you guys, when I saw the samurai inspired Darth Vader and stuff and the Boba Fett they had, like it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. They've done a line. I think it's Tamashii Nations has done a series of Star Wars. They call it movie realization samurai. Yep. So they had a cool Boba Fett in his original concept colors, but he's got samurai garb and stormtroopers and Vader and all that kind of stuff. So I actually. The perils of owning your own shop is like all those things we sold them. It would have been nice to keep some of them, but they're gone. So that's okay.
John,
they'll do new ones.
Did you watch it in English as well or only in Japanese?
I did not. I only watched it in Japanese.
So you didn't hear the performance of Fast and Furious alumni Brian C as well. He was actually not too bad.
Oh, so, interesting.
Tokyo Drift alumnus in that move. All these episodes were voiced by somewhat famous actors, but it was a good mixture. But Andre, give me your thoughts. I'm gonna wait Rob to the very end because look he's squirming. I love it. Andre, give us your thoughts.
So as you mentioned, Stu and John, you mentioned Batman Ninja. So this first episode was actually done by the same animation studio that did Batman Ninja, and they are Kamikaze Duga. And phenomenal animation. The visuals for this first episode, super on point. The whole episode is black and white, and not only is it black and white, but they've actually done a lot of the blacks aren't all black. It's like cross hatching, so you really get this, like John said, this is like a manga come to life. Right. And also you've got like it's almost like they added a film grain and it's so you're watching like an old film. There's so much coolness in this episode. So not only did they do an amazing job emulating Star Wars, from the sound effects to the design of the bandits' armor, but they also instilled an equal mix of, as John said, it's like Star Wars and the Jedi are inspired by samurai, and Lucas is that's what he was drawn to, not only samurai lore but also lots of fables and different stories. And this cartoon is a blending of both worlds, and it does it fantastically. Like, our main character, he's got robes but also looks a little bit like he's got samurai armor on it. Like I said, the bandits, they clearly had first order armor on in their helmets. They clearly had stormtrooper armor. So we don't know when this takes place. We don't need to know, but we know that these bandits have salvaged armor. The defenders of the town. John mentioned the Trandoshan. The Trandoshan's the scaly guy, and he had a couple of blades. Again, looking very like Warlord Japan like. But then we had the cool droid, and if you've read any of the comics, he looks like the assassin droid from the Dr. Aphra comic. He's got this big Gatling gun. And this is where you had splashes of color. The enemy blasters were shooting yellow, and the good guys' blasters were shooting green and blues. So you've got splashes of color in this black and white thing, but it's just so cool. We see all, like, if you look closely, like John said, if you're pausing it, you're seeing Star Wars stuff. There's a Doug who was Sebulba of Sebulba's race.
Yep.
And he's piloting a probe droid. You know, remember the probe droid from Empire Strikes Back? So again, these guys are I think they know that
Rob loves probe droids. Rob loves probe droids.
Yeah.
Behave, John. Behave.
We know. I think that we know that these animators know that they're hitting an audience that may or may not traditionally like Japanese animation. So again, their designs look, and that's how they're drawing you in. They're drawing you with the things you know, the familiar, yet they're making it different, and it's so freaking creative. It's awesome. But let's get talking down to the main character. The main character, like John said, is kind of like this wandering samurai. He's Ronin, like this. That's actually his name, and you know, so super cool that he just he waits. He bides his time till the leader shows herself, and she's a Sith, and she's got, like John said, the lightsaber. And again, as ridiculous as it kind of looked, I just loved it. I thought it was wicked. She pops it up, she's deflecting lightsabers as it's spinning, impales the guy and stuff. And there's this super cool moment where she's like, stand down or whatever, and then she just draws her blade from underneath the kind of umbrella and slashes, and he just catches the blade. And it's just super cool using the Force. So then she's all excited. Oh, I haven't killed a Jedi in a long time. Well, he is no Jedi. He is a former Sith. And that's his redemption, is he's killing other Sith to destroy their crystals. So right away, just super blown away, just at the concept of, we always knew Sith are going to be infighting, but what has made this particular Sith, this wanderer, do this? Like, you know, there's so much story potential right here. And it had, like I said, it had all of those kind of elements of Star Wars that I love. It was a breath of fresh air for me to Star Wars. I felt that this one episode, so much better than a lot of what I saw in Mandalorian, so much better than all of the Solo movie. You know, there's just it's just, there's just this really nice, you know, it just felt like Star Wars, you know, up to that moment.
This is the TikTok of media, Andre. It's 11 minutes. We got to slow down here. It's like you're watching 11 minutes compared to a 2-hour movie.
And it was better.
You gotta if this was a 2-hour movie, I don't know if it'd stick the landing. But right now, I super to be honest with you,
I think they absolutely would, because, like I said, they've taken the care to develop all that Batman Ninja movie was not. It was. Are we talking about the Batman movies too? Is that what we're talking about right now?
No, but I'm just saying
this particular.
But it's the same studio. It's the same studio. Yeah,
it's the same studio. I'm just.
It does look promising.
Yeah, but again, I get it, Andre. But at the same time, as we can't make assumptions either. Like, either way, maybe it could have been good for 2 hours, maybe it couldn't. But I'm just saying, like, you know, this is 2 hours right in your wheelhouse. It's everything you want, but we have to also say that there's, you know, it.
So if it's longer, in your opinion, it's worse. And for me, if there's more to it, it's better. Whichever.
It's not about that. I'm just saying.
Anyways, I really, really loved it. And I think that it is, honestly, it's just super, super cool. I like the fact that Star Wars and Lucas and Disney are reaching out to other animators. If you'll recall, before Revenge of the Sith, Genndy Tartakovsky was able to do a series of shorts on Star Wars Clone Wars. And again, that was super cool because it's somebody else's vision, yet it's making Star Wars look super cool. And again, there's so much room within Star Wars to have multiple stories told like this. And I'm just happy that Disney is looking at other places, because that can inspire people to do bigger and different things instead of just, you know, kind of rehashing the old stuff. So that's why I like it.
No, I'm not saying. I just think that I'm glad that this exists too, because I'm not, as much as I love the Marvel stuff, I don't like that everything has to be connected. I like the fact that Star Wars before was completely, you could do whatever you wanted. Lucas was like, write whatever you want, do whatever you want. And we got some of the best stuff. The problem is when you say everything has to be connected, it's like the quality kind of dips because everyone has to follow a same. I'm happy that none of this stuff carries over. I got 11 minutes of joy, carry on to the next episode. Everything's different and new. And I'm happy also if they continue this, because if you watch the Star Wars slate, it's like, oh, the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, everything, Obi-Wan, everything follows that universe. And if you don't like it, then you're like, well, I don't like everything else. But this is so refreshing and new. It's kind of like What If. Every episode is something different, and I'm cool with it. Like it's super fun. Rob, give us your thoughts on episode 1.
So this is a very difficult. I've been having a difficult time trying to figure out how I was going to put my thoughts together. I am not going to shit on either of the episodes that I saw. I'm going to say a couple of things, and hopefully it makes sense. Is that I'm very glad that that this series exists for Star Wars fans. I'm very glad that this series exists for anime fans or manga fans. I'm very glad that super fans like Andre and Scott and Jesse and Megan really enjoyed this. I'm glad that this fills a void or of Star Wars that maybe people want to see these different interpretations. I'm very happy that it exists because I think, the tide raises all boats, right? And so I don't begrudge that this exists. I think I've come to the realization for myself, though, that I guess I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy when it comes to Star Wars, and that I don't need all of these different interpretations or all these different offerings to feel. I feel very overwhelmed, and I feel like I have zero interest in really kind of moving out of the small piece of pie that I've grown accustomed to and I'm happy with.
Yeah.
And that was a really tough thing for me to kind of put my finger on, because even watching The Mandalorian these last 2 seasons, there's very few of those. There are 20 episodes altogether, those 2 seasons, that I can remember only a couple of them that I really enjoyed. And I felt like I don't need this expansive world, because maybe I'm not. I know that I mean, listen, it's very obvious and we've been doing this for a year and a bit. It's very obvious I am not the Star Wars junkie that Andre is. And I think that it's great that Andre has that love and a passion. He's read all the books. This is great for him. I'm not that type of person. And so I have to approach my review of these things as somebody who's just, I guess, middle of the road. And so for me, it's just not, it doesn't fulfill me in any way as much as it does for Andre or John or yourself or whomever. That being said, I respect the hell out of this first episode. I begrudgingly went into it. I didn't want to watch this stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I'm glad. I think it was 14 minutes. I'm glad. I'm glad what I saw. I enjoyed it for what it was. Visually, it was something different, and I thought it was great. I loved the storytelling idea. I loved the lack of dialogue in allowing the art to tell the story. I thought I did think that the Sith, played by Lucy Liu, I thought that she was very Erica Slaughter like from Something Is Killing the Children with her face mask. I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a nice package put together in 14 minutes that gave you everything you wanted, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, or a super fan or a quasi fan, or just a guy like me. I think you would enjoy watching this. I think it's worth watching it to see something different. But I commend the artists, the writers, and everybody who worked on this. I think it's great that people from different genres of entertainment now have an ability or permission to make this type of stuff, to scratch that itch that for years they weren't allowed to do. That's why you get a lot of these fan-made films on YouTube and this and that, who are doing these things, and because I want to see a steampunk Star Wars. I want to, you have the cosplayers who dress up as stuff, their own creations. So I'm very happy that this exists under the banner of Lucasfilm, under the banner of Disney, to be able to do this. And I'm happy for that. For me, I think I've just come to the realization that my part of the galaxy of a galaxy far, far away is I think I like it in a certain area, and I don't have the time or really the desire to want to expand it. So, that's why I say that I'm not going to shit on anything. I did not enjoy the second episode of this for me.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people loved it and it hit that thing for them. So I'm happy for them and I'm happy for you guys. But for me, I just couldn't get into it.
Like I said before, I think this
I feel all sweaty from having to come.
I think it's only exists.
It's like admitting I was an alcoholic or something. I'm like, I think I'm going to take it.
This particularly exists because the Star Wars movies bombed so badly that they're like, well, it's not, we're just gonna have to do something different.
But see, for you, and this is the thing though, is that you guys really don't like the sequels trilogy that J.J. Abrams did, and I actually don't mind them. Like, I think that they're okay. Like, I think they're better for me than some of a lot of other shit that we've seen. I do not like the Han Solo movie at all, but I like those other. I like the pre. I think they're fun. I'm okay with it. I could throw on Force Awakens and kind of enjoy it. But that's where I think I'm the meat and potatoes Star Wars representation.
Only movies is what you're saying that you're down with.
I'm excited to see what this Obi-Wan series is going to be like. I'm going to watch the Boba Fett series. Like we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it'll resonate. Like if I'm going to remember much of it.
But that's the thing I like about the show too is, and Andre and I will talk about it next after I get everyone's thoughts on the rating of the episode, is that it is perfect for if you don't like other Star Wars, at least there's a pocket universe for you to watch. It's kind of what I hope this opens up to Marvel. It's like, let these anime houses do it, because frankly, not everyone loves, like Andre loves the MCU. Give people another opportunity, do it somewhere else, let them get other content, because if you don't like all this meat and potatoes, you shouldn't be shunned away from the table. You should be able to get some other options as well. And luckily Andre has comic books to do that as well. He doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to. But I think that this is a good example of, hopefully there's enough support around it and people want to watch it. From, I guess, a cynical nature of it, everything Andre said was it's correct, it's great, it's awesome. But for me also, it's like, I'm thinking like, were they just doing this for toys? Because every episode I sat there like, this will make a toy, this will make a toy, this, like, is it just Disney cashing in? Because everything about every episode, which is amazing, it's stylized, it looks a certain way, but I could just imagine more merchandise, because they basically said anime has to do what you want, but we keep the IP rights and we get to make stuff of this. So it'll be interesting to see how much of this stuff you're going to see on kids or toys pop up in the previews magazine in a few months' time.
It brings up an interesting idea of what the term pop culture means, because I am of an age where pop culture or nerd culture, however you want, was very finite in its description of things. And I think that it's now all over the place. When I grew up going to high school, very few people were into anime or manga stuff. Like, you couldn't even find that shit unless you went down to the world's biggest bookstore down off of Yonge Street, right? It wasn't at Chapters. Now they have a massive section at Chapters, your local Chapters, if you're not close to a comic book, whatever, that you can get that stuff. I think it's great. And I'm very happy. And I'm trying to tell my son has a lot of kids in his class who are manga fans, and he doesn't get it. It's not his jam, but he doesn't read comics, so his opinion's invalid. But I'm very happy that that stuff exists for them. I am, and I'm really happy that Andre loves it. So yeah.
John, what do you give this rating out of 10?
I feel like I got to give it 10 out of 10. This was solid. It's a solid 14 minutes. You could put this on. You got to, you're waiting to pick up your food or whatever. You'll be very thrilled with that 15 minutes of footage. And like I said, you could pause it at any time and just ogle the freaking design and look of it. So yeah.
Andre?
Yeah, definitely 10 out of 10. Another thing that not only can it has rewatchability, but also, as John mentioned, if you haven't done it, after you watch it in English, watch it in the original language track with the subtitles. It just sounds like just the tone of it. So once you know the story and have appreciated the art, listen to it in its native track, and it's good. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me.
And I agree with Andre. I think there's a loss in translation when you watch a dub over sub. It's like sometimes the even it's not a straight translation. So if you watch it in English, if you watch it again in dub, the sentence structure is actually a little different. You can say a little more because the pacing is different in Japanese than it is in English. So yeah, it is a good recommendation. Rob?
You know what? For this episode, I enjoyed it for what it was, visually stunning. I'm going to give it a 9. I don't think there's nothing to detract me from giving it that high of a score.
So as John was mentioning, Andre and myself are the only ones that watched all 10 or 9 episodes. Andre, if you have to, without going to spoilers, give this whole series a rating out of 10. What are you giving it?
Yeah, so it's very it impressed me more than I thought. Usually in an anthology series, there's going to be an episode or two that you maybe don't like, you can appreciate or don't like.
Yep.
I liked every single episode in this. Every one of them has a different animation style, and I think that added to it, because I didn't like, while I like some animation styles better, I think all of them fit the story that they were telling. I also think that there is, like I mentioned before, there's so much Star Wars in here, and there's a lot of themes that I think people glaze over when they are watching Star Wars, and they know it's there, but they maybe don't realize. So to me, Star Wars, it's all about, like, there's relationships. There's we already know the family relationships, but it's also friendship relationships. The family that you're not born from, but you make. It's also about commitment. It's about righting wrongs. It's about helping people, and it's about seeing growth in yourself, as well as what your future potential is. And those are all themes throughout everything Star Wars, and all good Star Wars has those themes. So these 9 episodes, each one of them dealt with at least 2 to 3 of those themes. And I found it really amazing, because each one of those episodes, I think the longest episode was 20 minutes. So for these episodes to be able to tackle those themes in such a short amount of time, as well to be from people who are not writers and of Star Wars lore. Like I said, unfortunately, listen, I didn't like the Disney new movie, so I'm like again, the Solo movie, the sequel trilogy, it didn't hit the notes and tones that Star Wars is known from. And again, unfortunately, yes, if you guys could see my room, well, you can see there's Star Wars posters everywhere. So for this show, this anthology series, to hit all of those, every particular episode, amazing and fantastic. I'm going to give the series on a whole, I'm probably going to get it about an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Okay. And the reason I'm giving it that high is the reasons I said before, but also I think that if you like Star Wars in any way, shape, or form, even if you haven't seen any of them, you're going to get the feelings of Star Wars from these. My one detract, where it loses a little bit from me, I wish they could have used a little bit more of the Star Wars theme songs. I would have really liked to hear the Force thing and even just a little bit of the openings. While I did love the score and soundtrack in them, because it does have a very anime feel, you hear different music instruments and stuff, and the pacing's different. I do like, to me, Star Wars, a lot of Star Wars is the John Williams score. But also I would say that there's not one of these episodes, not a single one, that I wouldn't be down for either a manga follow-up 2 to 3 episodes, or a flat out series. Like, there's the episode called The Ninth Jedi, and I'm like, that just teed up a whole series. So I hope that we get more from them, and I hope I hope for these guys, these studios that did this, I hope they enjoyed doing it enough to say, yes, we would like to tell a continuing story. I will say, on the first episode, since we're talking about it, they already have a novel coming out about the Ronin, so we are going to see more of that, and that novel is going to come out, I think it's October 21st, and we'll be carrying that at the store. So again, I think Lucas already knows a little bit about the potential, Disney, And I know you mentioned Stu, you mentioned merchandise. After watching this series on Wednesday, I immediately went and tried to buy merchandise, and there's nothing available in
Not yet.
Canada.
Yeah.
Right. I literally went on Hot
Yeah.
Topics website. I had $200 worth
Yeah.
of t-shirts. I hit the checkout button and they're like, oh, some of the items in your cart are not available for distribution or shipping in your location. And I looked and I'm like, oh well. So my buddy Scott, I'm going to be hitting him up. And
Yeah,
I'm
I was
saying,
gonna say, send it to
there's
Scott.
going to be a
Yeah.
package sent
Yeah.
to you and come. So hopefully there is some merch, but like I said, loved it. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
The as we know, and as retailers, more than anyone, the supply chain is completely still a mess. Crates are still stuck in shipping houses in China, or like hasn't been brought over boats. Retailers are getting really screwed in terms of like you have to pay more to ship things over. Guys are being like strung up, like board game markets all over the place because they're in crates, but they're just waiting.
It's a complete mess. But
a mess.
The apparel world, actually, there's a licensing issue. So there's certain distribution in Canada and in USA. So there's some apparel that you can get in USA that will not be allowed to cross the border.
So it's a thing. I think from this, a lot of stuff will happen. I think just like What If, this show is all over the place in terms of comedy, in terms of story. I think if I was to ask Rob to watch any of them, I would just say like the same thing. Andre said The Ninth Jedi is actually something, Rob, you would like, but I don't think, and I would say The Elder. Other than that, everything else is a wash for you. You probably won't like anything else in this, but The Elder and The Ninth Jedi are 2 episodes. If I had to say, Rob, someone like yourself who doesn't really like clearly number 2 you didn't like, and that's why I was like, probably we'll just get 1 to be done. This is a show where if
that
you
little Boba Fett, he's so cute.
Personality, you can pick the episode that makes sense. Like, this is the episode you should watch, and hand feed them like to get you in it. I don't recommend, probably if you're not a meat and potatoes guy, to watch the entire thing. They will lose you after episode 1. So I think if you pick the ones you like from it, just like in Marvel What If, luckily for us, Marvel What If doesn't matter which one you watch currently. We'll see what happens at the very end, but this one,
what I
matter.
So Rob can order a la carte.
Yeah,
but I think that this show would be beneficial if you are like me and you're like, you know what, I can give it a go, but I'm not going to sit and watch it. If you're like me and you have to fold your kids' laundry like every couple of days, throw it on while folding laundry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, throw it, because it's a quick hit.
The Elder is David Arver and James Hahn, and it's perfect. Like, it's a good, cool episode, and you're like, oh yeah, this is. And The Ninth Jedi, Simu Liu's in it, and a bunch of actors as well. And and Andre said it, but it's outside of the first episode, one of the best episodes too, because it just gets everything you kind of want in a Star Wars, and it leaves you wanting more. There are homages to like Astro Boy. Like, you watch it, you're like, oh, this is basically just Astro Boy. This
Astro
is
Boy and Mega Man.
Mega Man, and like there's just things in this that fit that niche. If John, for example, John can watch all of them when he has the time in the background, waiting for his kids to get out of class, and he'll love it. It's like the nice treat for him as he's sitting outside waiting to pick up his kids from daycare. But I think from you, Rob, it's like you have to really pick the exact same one. So I, for one, like Andre, love the series in terms of like, I like how there's more options. How people complain a lot about why they don't make stuff for them. This is for you, for the people that don't like the Star Wars stuff, and it's quick, digestible bites, and you get more. I just hope that Marvel gets that stuff too. I think a lot of this is, again, I'm happy with the length. I don't know if it's possible to do a full show. Again, I think the way they've done it is perfect, and I don't need any more. It'd be nice if I got it, but sometimes I've been wrong before where I wanted more of things and it actually hasn't. It's like too much rich chocolate cake. It's like you actually want more pieces of like a rich dessert, but actually all you want is this one piece and you'd be done with it. So yeah. Okay. Quickly, as we jump off to something else, Tom Taylor, we're going to talk about him quickly. Son of Kal is out. John, do you want to give just a quick kind of your thoughts on issue 1 and your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So Andre will probably do a better overall intro, but I'll say it's a fantastic series for everyone to kind of just jump on to. It starts you off on the ground floor. Something has happened. Superman's taking off. His son's stepping up into the role. A lot of fun stuff going on. I don't know if this is Tom Taylor's thing to be able to take young heroes. He's done a phenomenal job on Nightwing, who is youngerish Batman. So he's doing a really good job with this character and the inclusion of Damian Wayne, who we saw in the first issue. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really good, and it's even like a lot of people just dislike Superman because of the whole Boy Scout notion and things like that. And in the second episode, there's a really good kind of speech between father and son, which is really cool. Like you would think, oh man, I want some action in my Superman book, but they managed to fit in some really good moments that are not action, that are like teaching. I don't know what you call them, teaching moments or
Morals,
or
yep.
what. Yeah, morals of why Superman does what he does, why he is arguably the greatest hero that we have, and his kind of philosophy and hope and all that kind of stuff. So I will highly recommend it, and I did enjoy the first two issues. Looking forward to the third. So much so that we don't have this a lot. Some people are coming in every week going, "Is issue 3 out?" Which is a really cool thing to hear, because sometimes people collect books and they're just like, yeah, it comes out whenever. But if someone is coming in every week going, "Hey, did I miss Son of Kal number 3?" That's a cool thing to have happen. So I'm glad that people can kind of jump on this that maybe don't normally read Superman.
Rob, what are your thoughts on the first issue?
Yeah, so I have it here. I read it. I think, again, I've gone on record saying that I don't know why I have to keep rebooting these characters with new people in it if it doesn't serve the story.
Keep on trying till something works, my friend.
I know, but it kind of irritates me, as unless it serves the story. Again, meat and potatoes. It serves a story, and so I kind of went into this issue, but I guess begrudgingly. I think John had to convince me to grab this issue, and so I did, or maybe it was Andre, maybe it was both of you. And I'm really glad you did, because this, I was like more than pleasantly surprised. I was blown away by the messaging in this. I still don't know the reasoning as to why. I mean, I know that it's tied into Superman's off on World or whatever, I think it is. But I really like the Tomasi Gleason run of Superman. I got the omnibus I got from the Heroes World. It's right there. And I really enjoyed that Superman run. And this one, it felt like it just hit all the points that I really liked from that Tomasi run. So, Tom Taylor really hooked me to the point where I've got issue 2, I think, on the polls. I can't wait to get issue 3, because I want to keep reading it, even though my natural instinct is to kind of like eschew the fact that there's a new Superman.
I think during the original reveal, you were like, yeah, why?
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool. It's cool that it wasn't just a cash grab. I think they're doing something with this book, which is cool.
Yeah. So I again, if you're like me, you're like, piss off, Superman should be Kal-El, Clark Kent. There shouldn't be another one, this and that. I hear what you're saying. I think you owe it yourself to read this first issue. I think you will read it. You'll be like, holy shit, I want to read issue 2. So that's my summation or thoughts for you.
Andre, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so the first couple issues, we'll talk about issue number 1. Fantastic issue, Superman, the son of Kal-El. So it is actually Clark Kent and Lois Lane's son. And in Brian Michael Bendis's run, the young Superboy or young Jonathan Kent was given to his grandfather, and unfortunately he was aged really fast, and then he came back as an adolescent. But yeah, Tom Taylor's writing and handling of this character, and not only Jonathan Kent but Clark Kent and Lois, and just the cameos when you see the Justice League in there. Like the first issue, it's a fantastic issue. Like everybody has to read this first issue. But basically, the book opens up with Clark Kent, Superman, out in space, and he runs into Green Lantern. Green Lantern says, "What are you doing here? We've got this. Go!" And there's some battle in space where they're doing something. And every time he's trying to help people, and all the heroes he's running is, "Clark, we have you. Go!" And he ends up going to the Fortress of Solitude. And there's this great moment between him and Batman, and Clark goes, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be here." And he's like, "I wouldn't miss this for the world." That's what Batman says. And you get it right there. These guys are brothers, and it's because his son is being born. Lois is giving birth, and Wonder Woman is there and everything. And it's this great moment. They didn't blow that up over the cover featuring the Justice League, whatever. This is about friendships and family. And then that continues throughout the book. Like John mentions, this is a book where you're getting character moments and father and son moments, and also you're getting the point of view of a new teenager getting that heavy responsibility to replace your father, who's the greatest superhero ever, and he's got to find his way of doing that. And that's what this book is all about so far. So 2 issues in, it's phenomenal. The art, the color is amazing. And it's also, I want to say it's fresh and different. You can see, if you guys are watching this, you can see the image behind John. He doesn't have his father's old costume, but he's got, there's the same color. He's got the red cape, but the suit's a little different. It's a little bit of him. He's going to be a different Superman. He's going to be a different person than his father, but he's also been raised by Clark, and he's had that shall we say mentorship and that person to look up to, and then his mother's Lois Lane. So it's so good, right out of the gate. Tom Taylor's been hitting grand slams for years, and I have to say, I gotta almost apologize for not tooting this guy's horn earlier. Like John, I remember telling me to read All New Wolverine when it was X-23 taking over the reins of Wolverine, and I never read it. Now I've got that trade, and I'm reading it. He wrote Injustice, and I loved all of that. He wrote Deceased. So this guy can write a ton of great characters and great situations, and he's writing Nightwing as well, which has been the best it's ever been. So between Superman, Son of Kal-El, and Nightwing, I can't even pick a favorite of the two because I just love Superman so much, and this is already setting me up to enjoy this book and this character, Jonathan Kent, just as much. Right now, as Rob mentioned, the Gleason run is one of my favorite Superman runs, but this is right up there because it might not have him and Superman, his father, all the time, but I think when we get their moments together, it's really going to be just out of this world. So 2 thumbs up for me. Just a fantastic issue. Like
okay, Andre, I gotta cut you off. You got to pick one Tom King book to recommend right now.
Taylor.
Only one.
Tom Taylor. Sorry, did I say Tom King?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tom Taylor. My apologies.
One Tom Taylor, you got one book to pick right now to recommend.
Only one. Everybody's got to read this one.
That's it. Okay. That's the one you recommend. All right, Rob, what's the one book?
Deceased. We've talked about on this show the Marvel Zombies What If episode, and we were like, and you're tired of zombies and all this bullshit Walking Dead's going on for the 8th show iteration of it, but you got to pick up Deceased, the first trade or the first collected edition. It's phenomenal. It's so good. So Deceased.
Without ruining it, it's dead people, right?
Not really.
No.
Good. That's all people need to know. Great. John, what's the one book?
Yeah, I'm going with my boy Nightwing. I follow this character from so long. The Scott McDaniel run. I forgot who was writing that. Andre, was it Scott? Tony
Danza. What?
Tony Danza. Yeah, Tony. No, Scott McDaniel was doing the art. I forgot who was writing it.
It's Tony Soprano who wrote it. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but Nightwing's always been
Tony
my guy
Bennett.
ever since
Come
he
on,
left.
give me a break.
Ever since he left and was taking over Bloodhaven and stuff like that. He's always been my guy. So that Tom is really doing him justice in the new Nightwing book, and it's been gone. I think they're on issue 80 something now. Andre, he started at 70 something.
Yeah, I started at I think 78, and they're on like 82 or 83. So the trade's going to be out soon. I think we've got most of the issues in stock anyways because we love it.
Yeah, they've been second and third printing all the issues. So yeah, it's nice to see Nightwing finally come up, and hopefully they're not gonna. He's had a bunch of epic runs that they just unfortunately when one of these DC events comes up, they kind of hit the reset button on him. So hopefully that he's gotten enough clout and he's got this Superman book now that he's gonna get to do his thing on these young heroes.
Awesome. John, Andre, where can they find you in the internets and in the desert of the real?
Yeah, so Heroes World Online is going to bring you to our YouTube, our Instagram, our Facebook. Most of the updates are posted there, as well as the Facebook, Instagram will link you to our website. So if we do get stuff posted on the website, certain items, and we can also arrange other things as well. We've definitely accommodated our friends in the USA and things like that. It's just not ready to be adapted into the website yet. So you can hit us up with messages via any of those methods. If you're listening on the audio, the Heroes World podcast on iTunes and Spotify, definitely give us a listen and a like. And you can take us on the go if you don't have time to watch the videos and see all of Rob's visual gags. like how he's turning his face all red right now. It's pretty good. It's impressive.
Andre?
Yeah, so the store is open from Tuesday to Saturday. That's 5 days a week. We are conveniently located at 8601 Warden Avenue. That's Warden and Highway 7. So that's just a little bit north of Steeles, just outside of the GTA. So come up, see us. We've got so much things for you to see. We've got lots of ample parking. There's lots of other amenities in the plaza. So, you know, if you need to go out and get bread and milk, just take a trek up here, because you can also get your comic books, because there's a nice grocery store, there's a McDonald's, lots of stuff in the plaza. But we know that you're coming to see us, but I just want to give you, you know, map out your day and do everything you need up in our neck of the woods.
Rob, what's going on?
Well, if you are going to get bread and milk, you might want to see the store first. Otherwise, you're going to leave it in the car and it's going to spoil. So you don't want to do that. You can find John and I every Monday live 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. It is the Heroes World Sidekick Show. Tomorrow, Monday, we've got a hell of an episode, because Stu is joining us, and we're going to discuss, the three of us, James Bond, Skyfall, the third outing with Daniel Craig. As we know, we are hitting the final Daniel Craig movie. No Time to Die drops on October the 8th.
It's called Tomorrow Never Skyfalls, right?
You're an idiot. And as you can see, this will probably be a preview of what you're going to see live tomorrow night. Stu and I are going to talk about the likes, dislikes of this show and of this movie. And John's going to be like, I don't get it. Where are the gadgets? So definitely join us tomorrow as we discuss Skyfall.
Where's the entertaining portions of this movie?
Wow.
If I could reach through this, I would punch you.
Yeah. Wow. So again, please, if you can support the store through any purchase, big or small, if you're in the GTA, please do so. Their hours on New Comic Book Day, of course, is always Wednesday. They're open till 9, and on Friday nights, if you are available, 9 o'clock as well, they're open too. So you can swing by, pick up something, a gift for friends and family, whatever you need. It's nice to go swing by and take a look at all the new merch. The store looks great. As I went out on Wednesday, it's awesome. And of course, if you cannot do that and physically purchase someone, like, subscribe, and do all the bells and whistles that you can. It really helps to get the word out to everyone that this place exists. And of course, if you want more deep Star Wars knowledge, Andre put episode 1 of his first impressions of Star Wars Visions on the channel. And he also has a book club on Friday. So Andre, shout us out your book club on Friday and what you guys are talking about.
All right. So the Star Wars book club, we decided to start with the Heir to the Empire. That's part 1 of the Thrawn trilogy. So we've got 3 parts of a 3-part review on that. And then we just hit book 2, and we just put up a video discussing what we liked about book 2. We did the first 10 chapters. So there'll be 2 more videos, which will bring us to the end of that, and then we'll be on to book 3. And I think my gang of friends, that I kudos to them. Shout outs to Jesse, Megan, and Scott, because I roped them into reading a Star Wars book for the first time. None of them had read Star Wars stuff before, and it seems like a couple of them are interested in reading the Ronin book when that comes out. So hopefully we'll get around to that. And if people like this content that we're doing for the book clubs, you know, let us know, and maybe we'll continue it down the line. I'm really kind of itching to read Dune again before the movie comes out, but that might just be a solo read. I don't know if anybody else can.
Rob doesn't read books.
Get
Rob
all of that.
Rob only
down,
wants to see it visually. He doesn't want to read.
Rob
I have
books.
lots of books,
but not
I
Dune.
won't read that.
I'll see if I can get. I'll see if I can get the audio.
I knew it. Rob was like, I read lots of books, but not Dune. I knew it. Rob, Mr. Poser. That's
I
it.
got lots of books. Just
Yes.
Not deep, heavy books like Dune. Yeah. I'm calling you out.
There's nothing wrong with Clifford the Big Red Dog, all right? And his
Rob's like,
fantastic.
where can I get? Rob is like, I have a Cole's Notes of Dune. Can I join you, Andre, in the book club if I read the Cole's Notes for the kids?
I've read that, John. There's a second one too.
It's great. Is there a follow-up to this? These are the books I'm reading right now. Yeah, but definitely tune into Andre's content if you want to see Andre flex his Star Wars knowledge. That's it. You even heard it here with his Last Ronin, or I want to call it Last Ronin. The Star Wars Visions review. He already ascertained that Ronin is some type of disgraced Sith because of the red lightsaber, which I don't know if he explained that, but apparently Siths only run red lightsabers. Andre, let's flex some
Yeah,
knowledge.
it's a whole process when they're selecting the do it, and anyway,
Yeah, so
there's
it's
artificial gems and non-artificial gems, and there's a whole thing, but Andre could talk all day about it, but we gotta
let me just buzz in on this. So the cool thing is you know how the new Marvel comics are canon now, so they actually explain, so Sith get kyber crystals, and kyber crystals come in different colors, and they resonate with the Jedis. However, in order to become a Sith, whatever color you have to do deeds that will turn it red. So that's why we saw in the Darth Vader comic, when Vader had to remake his lightsaber for the Emperor, he had to go around and fell Jedi in order to get that. So it's stabby. So it's really cool that you get that notion that the Sith basically, you don't just find a red crystal. You're turning that, your hate is turning it that way and stuff like that. And check out the Ninth Jedi, because they talk a little bit about that too in that vision. So super cool.
Hate makes things red, is what you're saying.
Yes, and angry like the Red Hulk.
Makes
and
sense.
Rob at this moment.
It's on red. Yeah, I think that's actually the sun. Rob
he's lit up all red.
Rob's been hanging out the pool too long. The three of us schlubs don't have pools. That's why Rob was just tanning on, working on his beach tans, so and his pool. So one day we'll go to that palatial estate and throw you in the pool, John.
Next summer we'll do a Heroes World live podcast from the pool, and
from inside the pool.
Sure. From the Shaolin, we'll all stand there, and
we'll all have COVID bodies or COVID after bodies.
John, you'll have to wear a proper bathing suit, please, because
full body like the olden days. That's what I want, and a cap. I want you to look like you're from the 1940s. So
hilarious.
It'll be great. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pick up Tom Taylor book, as these guys recommend, at the store. And we'll be back for next week, begrudgingly, for What If. I can see everyone's eyes rolls because I think it's about Howard the Ducks. This one's going to be worse. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be real bad. It's going to be Howard the Ducks.
What if they reveal Leah Thompson is on the voice cast?
Maybe, but it's a Howard the Duck episode. So you guys I love that. I was waiting for this to talk.
Look how Sith Rob is
full right Howard the Duck episode of What If.
Look how much he committed to this gang that he just stopped breathing. Rob, chill out, man. It's okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be rough. God. So hold your breath, people. This is I don't know if there's ever gonna be more.
Darth Maul like black makeup on his face.
This is like the Klingon.
That's how red he's going if you're listening on the audio.
Where you have to walk through the trials, where Worf and TNG have to walk through and you get pained.
This is
pain sticks, because there's no, you three are never going to survive. I'll be fine. I'm good. But this is going to be rough. Howard the Duck, baby. Whole episode. Let's get ready.
It better be the shortest one.
No, it's probably going to be the longest one.
Probably 40 minutes too. Yeah.
40-minute Howard the Duck. Get ready. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. See you later. Bye.
Next week, what if crack food dominated UFC?
Oh my goodness.